it's going to be really interesting meeting. I'm super happy about this meeting. And now, thank you very much, guys, for being with us. We have this special guest that I was talking about many times, because my audience were asking about chess talent, about chess, let's say, development chess talent, about being, let's say, the gifted player, how to, let's say, make the most out of this training and so on. And therefore, at some point, I just told them that I finally will find some of the specialists that will just answer these questions as best as possible. Therefore, we are just having the special guest. Our guest today is Karel van Delft, a chess psychologist, a chess organizer, a chess player, a chess educator, and chess-able researcher. Therefore, we are just having a very experienced specialist that will be answering our questions. And at the same time, I hope you guys have your questions to our guest as well. And in the meantime, thank you very much, my friend, for accepting the invitation. How are you today?
It's hot here, but I just it's fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
I hope you too.
Yes, I'm fine as well, because I was looking for this interview for the long time, and at the same time I'm super happy that finally we can just make it, especially as you probably know, because you just confirmed that 2 or 3 months ago we had the collaboration with Johanan Afek, your friend, right?
Yeah.
From the
My
Dutch
friend,
community. Yeah, and therefore it's super let's say
Actually, we met in Poland.
Oh, I didn't know even.
Second, 95. My son was playing European Youth Championships under 16, and Johanan was there as a coach of the Israeli team. And well, we became friends. A few years later, he went to Amsterdam and he still lives there, and we have regular contact.
Okay, got it. And now if you can get a little bit into the, let's say, topic into chess, because today we are just having the opportunity to talk about developing chess talent and organizing chess, let's say, education, because these two topics will be just talking together at this meeting. I would like to ask you about some kind of introduction about you, how you get into chess, how you get into the specific area of chess that you specialize, and a little bit of how you just continue your mission.
Well, I was 11 years old. And I went to the library. I found a book of Max Euwe for children, and I think it's also in English translated. And a good source to find things is the huge site of Bill Wall. And there is, I think in English it's called Uncle Jan teaches his nephew chess something. But anyhow, I teached myself by the book, and then started playing with some boys. Then for years I did not play. When my son, Marijn, who's now an international master and a psychologist as well, when he was 6 years old, I taught him the rules. We did not do too much with it. But then when he was 11, it's quite old, he was invited to play for a school team, and he liked it. And then at the same time, I studied psychology at the University of Amsterdam in the evening, and they had some. We could do some course of sport psychology. So we discussed. Let's go into chess. You do the tactics and the openings, and I study a bit about methods, and then we go to tournaments, just for personal development, to have fun, no ambitions at all. That's how it started. And then, he was very enthusiastic. He appeared to have some talent. Then I thought, let's become an organizer. Then we have some tournaments. Somebody has to do it. And then I at the university I finished with some thesis about chess and psychology. about transfer effects of learning, about mental training, about such kind of things. And well, 5 years later, well, at the beginning, people asked, "What is this about psychology? We are not crazy." I said, "Well, so be about becoming more creative, or how do you learn, or how can you stimulate each other?" Even I met Professor De Groot, and thinking, what is the English title? Denken van de schaker, we say in the Netherlands.
Thinking a chess?
Well, De Groot developed the concept of pattern recognition, and taught I forgot. I'm better titles, but he wrote this book, and I met him, but he wasn't too much aware of. He did things with thinking protocols, cognitive psychology, but he wasn't that aware about social aspects. And I thought, well, if Polkar can stimulate 3 daughters, maybe I can stimulate a town where everybody stimulates each other. So social psychology processes.
Yeah.
And I was interested in it. I never became a good chess player. Maybe my ELO was something. Sometimes at 1,800, but it dropped. But the good news, I always say, if I, with such a modest rating, can do some things in chess, well, almost everybody can do it if they want. Just work together with other people. Be enthusiastic, be curious, and work a bit. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much. And if we can get a little bit more into the topic of how you just connected psychology into chess, into sport, into education with something like other people for the collaboration, because at some point we'll mention that you are just chessable science, let's say, manager, and at the same time you collaborate with other people who will just try to put the science and all of the research together to bring new quality to chess education, into chess community. If you can give us a little bit insight.
Those are several things. Yes, for since 2 years, Chessable, it's now part of chess.com. They have a science team. The founder of Chessable, David Kremley, he was a psychologist, and also he did something with informatica. So he developed, and then he reached out to Professor Buddy Heimer, an educational psychologist and a chess player, and he decided it would be good for Chessable and for the world. There would be a science team, and then Buddy know me because there is this London Chess Conference yearly. There I interviewed him back in 2016. But he wrote this book, Chess Improvement, with Grandmaster Peter Wells. And Peter we know because years ago he played for our local team in Apeldoorn. But I was in London with my son. My son played the London Chess Classics, and I was there for the conference. Of course, we went to a pub, and there we met Peter, and we drank a few hours, and we talked about the book he was writing. And then, later Buddy Heimer reached out to me. He said, I need a guy, to work with me in the science team. And then I said, okay, but I only want to do it part-time, and that is what they wanted too, because on the other hand, I run a chess academy in Apeldoorn, and teaching and writing books and more things. So, but this is also for Chessable, I think, a good combination, because I also organized 80 tournaments or something. So we have a network, and well, it comes together well. But yeah, maybe later we can speak a bit about some nice things of Chessable, or we can start with it.
Yeah, we can start with no problem. We can just go with the topics, let's say, as much as you wish, because we are just having the questions from the list that we just agreed upon, but we can just move it smoothly.
Well, just to be short, can I share a screen, by the way? Or can you share a screen?
Yes, I will be showing the screen because I have everything prepared. Therefore, you can talk,
Oh,
and
okay,
I'll be
very good.
showing the screens.
Well, let's go to chessable.com.
Yes. And by the way, do you want me to share the screen with you or with just the public?
Sorry? No, for the public, of course, because I know what it's about. It's about the
Okay.
public.
Okay. Just continue, and I'll just provide the screen because I need to make it a little bit of adjustment, but I will just do it quickly. Please continue.
Yeah, okay. I will tell if you have the site there. I will tell a bit about Chessable, and then, well, there are two different things. Chess is a sport, 1-0, or chess is a tool for education, and tool as a but it's a bit also for competitive players. Developing your personality is important for your results, but also for your personal development. And I think chess is there are four things which I emphasize in lessons or are part of the program, the culture I create. And I think chess can be very helpful for social aspects, emotional, cognitive, and metacognitive, the social working together, emotional dealing with problems, for example, losses. Cognitive, it's about reasoning, analyzing, being creative. And metacognition is a bit about is about thinking about your thinking and your behavior. And then there is the matter of far transfer and near transfer. When I learn to sit on a chair, the next day I can sit on another chair. But sometimes that's a near transfer. But sometimes things you learn with chess, and like Einstein said, playing is the highest form of learning or teaching. Yeah, in the Netherlands, leren means teaching and it means learning. So sometimes I mix it up. But okay, then it's important in lessons you use comparisons. For example, a kid blunders a piece. Then I say, do you ever walk across the road? Yes, of course. And then what you do? Well, I look to the left, to the right. Okay, so first you look to the environment, and then you start doing things. But why don't you do it on the chessboard? And then this is what you. Then I'm a kind of mediator, and there is this a famous Israeli psychologist, Reuven Feuerstein, and he developed all kinds of theories and brought it in practice. So I think, and then I go one step further. I think it's very Chessu is very good tool for the development when you have the good didactics, and what is very important is empathy. You are a team with the kids, and then I have three pillars. I say we have to do it with variation. Well, with top sport, maybe you have to drill opening or something. But with the kids, I said, okay, we have variation, then we have fascination, and then we have participation. You are the kids and I, we are a team. I'm not top down.
Yeah.
We do it together. Okay, that's a bit about some aspects. And in my book, Chess for Educators, well, I elaborated on that. And for example, for autistic kids, can be, but also with for kids with not much IQ. it can be very helpful for the developments, and it's just proven in practice. Yeah. But do you have the site, Thomas?
Yes, I have all of the, let's say, website, all of the tabs open, and I'm just switching this to show the community. At the same time, I'm just sharing the links into the chat. Therefore, whoever wants to get into the stuff that you are talking about can just click into the link and can get there at the same time immediately. Therefore, everything is prepared.
Yeah, my compliments. You do a good job.
No problem, no problem. I'm happy to, let's say, provide such service. And at the same time, we will be talking about, let's say, Chessable, because Chessable started, as you just mentioned, 2 years ago, having this crew, this, let's say, team.
No, they started in 2016.
Yeah, but I mean about the science. I mean about the science.
Yeah, started about 3 years ago, I think. It was first Heimer, and then half a year, and then I came in April 2 years ago. Yeah.
And at the same time, I would like to show, because in a moment I'll just switch the tab for our community to see, that at Chessable there is this, there's the tab of science, and you just were, let's say, have the honor of having the Chessable scientist Karel van Delft honored of the Chess Educator of the Year, and it was the article by Andrew Kaufman, provided February 23rd of 2022.
No, that's not what I mean. Well, indeed, last year I got this award of Dallas as Educator of the Year, and then Chessable wrote an article about it. Now, what I want, what I ask you, can we go to the site where is described what the Chessable team is doing?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
And can I see it also? Because then I can comment on it.
Chessable team. Give me a second because I need to click it. Chessable science team. Yes, but I'm not sure if I can share the screen with you to show you. Maybe I'll just try to make it, but take notice that I do not do such things. But let me know if you can see this right now.
Okay, yeah, you're going to good direction. Yeah.
Can you see that?
We see that, and I hope the viewers can see too.
Viewers can see that, yes. Viewers can see that.
Maybe you should make it a bit smaller, but now we see only half of it.
Half of it? I'm not sure how to make it. Give me a second.
Control 10 or function 10.
Not sure what you mean.
Yeah, very good. Okay, there we are. There are two parts, by the way.
Yeah.
There is a general part where there are described. There's a huge article by Professor Heimer. He describes the role of psychology in learning, in self-management, all kinds of psychological aspects. And then here, where we are now, it becomes more concrete, and it describes 4 initiatives of the science team. By the way, Buddy went away with pensioner, and now there is Dr. Alexei Roth, Texas also. And Buddy came from the UK, and she is a Mugen International Master. But please go up. There we see help. Okay, sometimes we don't go in too much in details, but here it's described how we learn how research help. We assist people when they have research questions or want to come in contact with other scientists or whatever. Then there is some projects, external, and we do in-house research. For example, we did in-house with the work group some research about backward solving. Normally player look forward, what is the next move, etc. But you also can think about a goal and then reason back, reversed. Okay, that kind of that's research. The Chessable Research Awards, that's a very nice initiative. Yeah, and a blog. I come back on the awards. The blog we write ourselves. For the moment, for example, there are several people who write a blog. Also, we do ourselves about research we do. And the Chessable Research Awards, then maybe you can click on learn how.
Learn
Oh,
how?
no.
Okay, I'll just
Oh.
put learn how, no problem. Learn how with
Yeah.
research? With research?
No, the Chessable Research Awards, please. No.
This one?
The green one.
The
The
green
green
one.
one.
Okay, the green one. Here we have it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then we go down.
Yeah.
You go down. Yes, that's what I wanted to show you. That's Alexei, that's me. We were in the London Chess Conference.
Mm-hmm.
But here you find detailed description. Students can be at university and also PhD students and masters
Mm-hmm.
and graduates. They can develop proposal.
Yeah.
Then we can give them an award and they get some money.
By the way, it was in summer 2023, this one, because I just switched
Yeah,
into the...
okay, yeah, these were the winners of this, yeah.
Yeah, because this is
This
another
guy-
tab, that's why I'm asking, because I have all of them opened. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
David Smurden, we have contact also sometimes. He's a professor and a grandmaster. He wrote his book about swindling.
Mm-hmm.
David, with a colleague of his.
David Smurton is the Grandmaster, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's a grandmaster, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He does research about cheating in chess.
Oh.
And the student does some research. And it's very interesting what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, before the end of the year, we will get some results. And that's, of course, very interesting. They do things about preventing cheating.
Mm-hmm.
But there is also somewhere an article by my son and Frank van Hardenveld, who is the deacon of the psychologists in Amsterdam. And they wrote together a book about the motives of cheating.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
also interesting.
if I can interrupt for a while, because cheating is one of the topics that every, let's say, member of community is more or less interested. Of course, we do not, let's say, support cheating, but rather would like to ask you if you have some kind of information. What is David Smurden with his student and working out about, let's say, cheating? Is this like preventing cheating? Some like looking from the perspective why the people are cheating? So like, what is the area of the topics that they are trying to get, and what are the conclusions so far? If you can give a little bit of insight.
No, I cannot because
so far as you can see, of course. Mm-hmm.
No, they're just researching several aspects, and of course they will look to motives. They will look to prevention, but I can. No, we have to wait a bit.
Maybe to ask different way. What is the main goal of their work? If you cannot reveal, of course, it's perfectly fine. But what is our main motive of their work? What they are trying to change?
Well,
if I can say that.
It's in the title, a detection of cheating.
Yeah, but this is pretty much broad, right? Broad title. Therefore,
but that's why the guy is doing research.
mm-hmm. But are we talking about online cheating or cheating overall? Because this is what are interested. Cheating online or overall over the board as well?
No, as far as I know, it's about online.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But what they do, the award is given for a research proposal,
Mm-hmm.
and then they will later. It will lead to a peer-reviewed article in a scientific magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to stimulate research. That's why and that's quite unique. I don't think there is a chess company in the world which has a science team, and also not who's interested in stimulating students to do research.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of impulse for them.
Yeah.
And then what's in it for them? Well, they can write later a blog on Chessable, and then you get a platform to contact with other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's always nice, I think, to get some recognition for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. By the way, if I can add a little bit to your, let's say, expression, it is the chess journals of expertise that previous year they were looking for researchers about the chess expertise, because it was the specific topics. I'm not sure if you just know about these periodics. A chess
That's
journal
not,
of expertise where you're just getting into chess.
no, that's another initiative. It's by Professor Campitelli.
Oh, Campitelli. Mm-hmm.
Journal of Chess Expertise.
Mm-hmm.
You can show it to your viewers. But no, that's another initiative.
Yeah.
We're now talking about chessable, stimulating research.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, of course, more things. There is Professor Gobet who writes a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's Giovanni Sala. There is a lot of researchers. And some of them found also their way to cooperate with Professor Campitelli in this Journal of Expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a few months. The most recent issue was about. It's a free online journal, and the most recent one was about chess. But it's
Mhm.
not only about chess. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And if we can get a little bit with the students who about these awards, because this is the very interesting article, and people will probably be pretty interested if you just get a little bit insight about another one. McGill University, Canada, Checkmating Pain, exploring the links between flow experience, chess, and pain modulation. Can you give us a little bit of insight into this? If you know, of course.
Well, it's just what is described there. Well, for example, you can imagine that if you have disease or you have mental problems
Mm-hmm.
or a drug addiction,
Okay.
and then you play chess, then you can concentrate on other things, but also you meet new people,
Mm-hmm.
you get another view of yourself.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of. That's a bit the point. With sometimes there was done research, and then they say, well, it does not help too much that chess. And I remember maybe 10 years ago, I had to talk with Professor Roland Grabner. We worked with him together too, from the University of Graz. He got famous by research about chess and intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, well, what's your experience? Because I'm only a scientist, but you are in the classes, you were teaching kids, you were teaching autist kids. What's your experience? And I said, well, it's a broad variety. Some kids, they learn to deal with anger. Some kids find out they are not stupid at all. So there can be some get into solving studies, and they become more creative. So there is a lot of on the four things I mentioned: social, emotional, cognitive, and metacognitive. There you can. There's a lot of applications. I give you one example. Sometimes, or regularly for more than 10 years, maybe, I've in several towns. I teach classes of highly gifted kids.
Mm-hmm.
Then 1 hour a week chess. Okay, and then I let them work together, or I let them play chess with the dice. You know,
Oh.
dice.
Yeah.
And then but there is in Germany they sell this chess dices. But you can also say 1 is the pawn, 2 is the knight,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah. Representing the number of the pieces. Mm-hmm.
And then you throw dice.
Yeah.
And it's a king. Well, in the beginning position you cannot move the king.
Yeah.
So and then you can lose.
Oh my
So
goodness.
life sucks, but you have to make the best of it. So you can make all kinds of comparisons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wanted to tell something else, but this was just an example.
Yeah.
I know what I wanted to tell. They asked me also to teach 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were 12 years old. They say, okay, today we are starting with talking chess. What is talking chess?
Yeah.
Okay, each move, you tell why you do it, and you can ask the opponent why he does things. Yeah, but that way I cannot win. I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
how told you which chess is about winning.
Yeah.
Then I said, okay, think about the move.
Mm-hmm.
About the move. I cannot make a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe acronym can be helpful. What's the acronym?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said it's the C from capture. I always forget it in English, but it is you can take a piece.
Mm-hmm. Chess captures threats, probably CCT,
Sorry,
right?
sorry.
Is this the acronym CCT? Check capture
Yeah.
threat, right? This one?
Yeah, and then 5. There are 5. With the king, it's only capture, put between, and go away.
Mm-hmm.
But then with the piece, it can also be help or counter attack. But there are 5 possibilities when you defend.
Okay.
And if you take the first letter from each word,
Mm-hmm. It
acronym.
would be the acronym. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you are not chaotic thinking.
Yeah.
You structure your thinking. Well, so I had a few other tips. Then at the end, I asked the kids, how was it? This was no chess, this was philosophy, the kids say. Yeah. Okay, I said, well, then you understood. The chess is nice to have fun. To understand a bit about yourself and the world and life.
Yeah, it's impressive. I would say that I knew something about chess research as well, but this one is, to be honest, pretty shocking to me because I have never knew that something is going on. That's why I was so happy that I will just have you into the let's say studio.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you now is more about education. For example, this woman. It's also nice of the research awards.
Yeah.
It's not about opening theory or something like that.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
You use chess in all kinds of applications. For example, when you play, well, you can for example, there is also, I think not C, but another one he made with AlphaZero. Kind of Alpha. No, this is another with diving.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another guy who won it last cycle.
Yeah.
And then he used algorithms of chess programs for better organizing the organization in a hospital. What is the English word? When people come in and they need very fast help.
First aid, right?
First aid, yeah.
First
something
aid.
like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but this can be sometimes because you've broken your leg, but the other one has a heart attack. How to help first? Because the heart attack maybe takes you 30 minutes and the other one 5 minutes. Okay, and there are not enough doctors, too much patients because it can be chaotic sometimes. And then they use chess algorithms to solve problems in the logistics of first aid.
Yes,
okay,
and by the way, the first aid was just my name a little bit more professional, or way more professional, is emergency room. Because chat is talking to me that emergency room is better. Emergency room. So I'm like, the first aid that you do immediately to the patient.
Exactly.
ER, emergency room.
But okay, I think so you get an impression about, you find all other information on the site about Chessable. I think we can discuss also other things.
Yeah. And can we get into the next one quickly about this one, University of Alaska's, the effect of diving on chess ability? What is going on about this briefly?
When you are underwater, it's more difficult to concentrate.
Wow. And what he's trying to get?
Well, there are there's more research, but he is, and he make all kinds of comparisons with other situations. That people have not much air, or they have all kinds of environmental pressure.
Okay, excellent. And we can see that this is the Alexi Root, that is the, let's say, chess-able chief officer, and she's just at the University Texas at Dallas. Therefore, you both, if I'm not mistaken, are collaborating very closely, right?
No. This is coincidence. That I got this prize for. She had nothing to do. This is pure coincidence. She had nothing to do with the fact. Now they have a chess team, and they have a coach. I think he a grandmaster. He comes from Philippines, and Alexei is teaching chess there.
Yeah.
Some courses and about didactics, but she had played no role. Also, when I got the prize, she was not hired yet by Chessable. No, the Texas thing is just coincidence.
Okay, got it.
You can see it in the timeline. It's and there is this grandmaster who read my books and and advise the committee to yeah.
And if we can get a little bit into the chess education, because we just started a little bit, if you can give us into chess education, if we would like to our society to shine, to help supporting the children with different needs, with special needs and so on, how should we organize chess education overall? Something like the most global way. How would you just give us some kind of tips, some kind of practical advice, how to do it the optimal way?
There are a few things in general, like I said, variation, participation, be aware of the personal aspects of the kids. There is only, but I like to work with checklists. There is a chapter about classroom management. It's 8 pages of bullet points or short sentences, because it's a microcosmos, such a classroom or a training. And there is so much interaction and problems. There are so much things. For example, if I talk with a kid, why should I look top down?
Yeah.
I can also take a chair and we all have the same eye level.
The same level.
That's the thing. You cannot. But there are so much insights you can profit from, but you cannot be aware of them all the time. So the trick is, develop insight. With insight you get grip. And how do you get grip? Via analyzing regularly, checklists, and develop. Talk with other people, ask people to observe you, or intervision, which means talking with each other and exchanging ideas, but then develop thinking and behavior routines. And then it become like a skill, it become automatically. And like each skill, first you are not aware, you don't know it, then you are aware, you don't know it, then you start trying out, but very deliberate. Then at the end, you do it automatically, like driving on the bike.
Like breathing.
Yeah, example. Yeah, okay, but that's just our body does it automatically. But there are skills. Yeah, you have skills and competences.
Yeah.
And well, it's very. I work, for example, with Dansk Skoleskak, Danish schools chess together, and I was invited for a few days there also, and we met in London, etc.
Yeah.
They teach for about 60 years already. Well, that would be nice to talk with Mikkel Neurgaard. He coordinates the things there, and they have. They don't teach chess themselves. They have contact with 30% for 60 years of the Danish schools, primary schools, and the teachers themselves teach chess, and then the people of the Danish schools chess, they go to the schools to teach the teachers to teach, because children, etc. And then and there I was also a bit involved, and then they make it broader. Then they also, now they are developing also programs about special needs kids.
Special needs, yeah.
autism or blind or whatever, or kids with social emotional problems.
Before we get
Yeah.
into this, let's say, special kids things, because it's super fascinating, let's say, topic, I would like to provide some of the questions from the chat, because chat is, let's say, pretty intense as well. Therefore, I'm just trying to monitor the chat. And there is first question that was just asked 20 minutes ago. Therefore, I apologize, my viewer, for waiting. But of course, we need to make, let's say, our friend to get as much information as possible. The first question from our friend Mike is the following. Did you notice any particular effects on students' self-confidence as a result of their practicing chess, especially kids with special needs?
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit insight into this, about this special, let's say, effects, particular effects about the children with the special needs? How they behave, what have they changed, and so on. Just elaborate as much as you wish.
Yeah, well, we have. I give two examples. There is a girl. Now she's a young woman, and originally, and it's open information, so I can tell about it because the parents, and that's what more and more people do. Parents also for special needs kids. Then they don't shame. They're open because then they can exchange with other people their experiences and stimulate each other. And there's Karin Pruisers, and Karin, she was diagnosed on 55% IQ. And then the father, psychotherapist, and the mother is a psychologist. The father, Henk, he started teaching the kids chess. 15 minutes a day, later maybe 2 times 50 minutes. Okay, and then the girl, now she has a special kind of work, but she is also, maybe her ELO rating now is 1600, and she is arbiter, and she is, yesterday I was at the local club, and she was there because the kids did exams for diplomas, and so these kind of things. And her brother, he was, he plays also for the Apeldoorn team. He's grandmaster, and he's one of the best players.
Wow.
7 times in the Dutch championship.
Wow.
So it's, but that's one. And I know another more examples. And then via chess they get self-respect, and it's a good way to discuss about yourself. And then in the beginning, when it has to be also with empathy. Chess is very nice because when I have white clothes and I'm the doctor, and I say, "Tell me about you." Well, then the kid does not say anything. But now we are just in my normal clothes, and I'm with the kid, and we are playing chess. And the kid puts the knight from G1 to F3, and a moment later from F3 to G1. Then I can think the kid is afraid. But I don't ask him, "Are you afraid?" I ask him, "Why do you retreat the knight?"
Yeah, excellent. Continue, please.
Okay. And I said, "Well, it's interesting, but is there a second possibility?" And then there was a guy, and he was for 27 years, he was a world champion, and he was a friend of Einstein, and he was called Lasker.
Oh
and
my goodness.
That's another. So with storytelling, you know? And so there are hundreds of ideas, I cannot tell them all. And also, I have them not, I forgot the English word, but a lot of them ideas are in my book. Yeah.
Yeah. I by the way, I am just pasting.
Sorry?
I am just pasting the links to your website to the Shaq Academy, and all of the, let's say, links that you provided to me, therefore they are on the chat, don't worry about it. And we have another question from the chat. Our friend Nikolaos from Greece is asking the question, do you remember one of the first time you played chess versus PC? So I'm like with the chess versus computer, or chess versus the engine, because nowadays the engine, back then it was the computer. And what was your, let's say, emotions, what was your approach if you played against the machine, not against the human, let's say, opponent? Did you have such experience, and what did you feel?
No, I don't remember it very well. I think it was some program. My son won some kind of program, and then he said, I don't want, he was 12, it was 32 years ago. He said, I don't want to have it, I don't start with computers, so we tried a bit. Well, it was neutral for us. And but now, by the way, now you see that book, Mastering Positional Sacrifices. He checked everything in the cloud with mega things.
Wow.
Computers. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, thank you very much. And now let's get into the next topics, because I have, let's say, more as well. Therefore, let's get into this one as well. How can one recognize if the child has the talent or has the aptitude, and if it is necessary to ask the coach, maybe psychologist, or maybe there are some kind of online tests? How could you get this question answered if there will be the parents or the, let's say, people who are working at the chess clubs as the instructors, and they would like to say that they have some kind of gifted or talented kids? What is the way to measure this? What is the way to check it out if it is true? Not about the fantasy of the trainer, of the coach, or maybe the parents. How to manage this topic?
Well, to start with parents, they can be very dangerous and destroying careers of chess. My impression is there is not much attention for coaching the parents. Okay, I'll tell two things at the same time. Talent. What is talent? You have nature, and you have talent. Talent means you have potential to develop qualities. Yeah. But it's not always immediately visible. And special, there can be circumstances. For example, my grandson, he has autism. He's now 11. In the beginning, he did perform very bad at school. Because it was necessary for him to, he took things very literally. So, when they say take the coat, then the teacher means we go outside. But he heard, I take your coat. So we were standing there with his coat. So this kind of things to learn. This, and then his eyes were not that well. So he needed glasses. Okay. But then there was already a wrong start. So then you can get bullied or something, but the most important is you don't have confidence in yourself. And, he came into chess, and for him, for example, Corona time was a blessing. It was a blessing, Corona, because they did not have to go to school. And he played for 8 hours a day. He played chess and studied chess, and he has advantage that I'm his grandfather, and I live nearby the house of my daughter, and so I can give him all kinds of advices, and then online with my son, who's international master, his uncle, they can train. But the most he did himself by being enthusiastic, and then. Now we have in the primary school 8 classes, but now he skips the 8 and he go to the high school.
Wow!
With
High school, higher level.
yeah, high school, but they have tests, and he did them almost 100%. So that's. I tell you about parents,
Yeah.
and then in my book is a chapter about parents because my son, Rijn, in the holidays online with another international master from Apeldoorn, Nico Sveers, they have online schools, and then with kids they do trainings. But for the parents, they have the possibility that parents have if you parents get the book if you go a bit down on the page. If you go a bit down, can you go down? Yeah. Or not? Oh, this one is only. Yeah, no, there it is.
To Chess
Down, down,
Educators? Chess Educators?
down, 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 down. There it is. And there is also. There's. But this is not a side chess. Yeah, this is the side. Where is the movie? Oh, there's the movie. By Peter Dobbers from chess.com. He made it 10 years ago. My son presents our book, Developing Chess Talent. And the get the ebook version of this. And then in groups or private, I have talks with them. They can have. I had about 35 of those parents.
Yeah.
And then they can be professor or most of them have higher education. But then, for example, a mother says, and she's teaching at the university, my daughter doesn't make progress. Should I look for find another trainer? I said, well, what's did you hear about the concept of incubation time?
Oh.
It means you learn something new.
Yeah.
And your brain has to be has to be reframed. So you learn new things. It's with a language. It's with karate. It's with everything. You learn things, and you make a mess of it in the beginning.
Yeah.
It take you some time to integrate new information, new skills, and to bring yourself on a higher level.
Yeah.
So there are dozens of aspects in the development, and that's why I advise parents stop with high expectations. First, read a bit about it, talk with other people, and then they get also some. But most is also in book Chess for Educators, all this kind of advices, and in this book. And then talk with other people. And it's about your attitude. Talk with the kid, and then you can turn it in thinking routines and behavior routines. But each kid differs. And some develop slow. So there's a lot of aspects, and in general, I can say, well, you have talent if you develop faster as average. Yeah. But what I want to tell is there is a lot of aspects which play a role in the development. And there was a guy, I forgot the name, but a scientist, and he said nothing is as practical as a good theory. So
Wow.
first think about what's going on. Kind of sociologist or something, but maybe it was Kuhn. I don't know, but it was a famous scientist who said this. But it's true. First, try to understand a bit something about each, and then come with your ordeal, your opinion.
Okay. And what about the adults? Because there are some adults in our community as well, and they are sometimes pretty much, I would say, over-ambitious, and I just call it that they are unrealistic. They have unrealistic goals. For example, how could you, let's say, commend the people who are at the age of 35, 40, like the age that they are no longer, let's say, youngsters, and they are some like 14 to 1500 ELO, 14 to 1500 ELO after 1 year of playing chess, and they want to get to the FIDE Master or International Master title, not level and not online, but getting to the FIDE Master or International Master title. What would you try to tell them about their expectations, especially based on your son, about all of the observation and experience that you have during the years? How could you comment on that?
Seems not very realistic. I think when you look to the statistics, there never was somebody became grandmaster after the age of 50, for example. You know, general developmental psychology. Well, there are, for example, well, after 25 physically or 28, you decline. Also, your brain isn't functions and your memory, etc. Your concentration that becomes less. It's all thing necessary to play well chess. But I think, and I think it was Kroog. Yeah, it was Krogius. Nikolai Krogius. The Soviet grandmaster, coach during Spassky Fischer. He later went to America, US, but he described in, I think the English title is Psychology in Chess. I read the German title, it's Psychologie im Schach. But there he describes that people who started learning chess after 10 years old, that they never, they were worse later in tactics. And the same as you are 10 years old and you try to learn Chinese. It would be for guys from Poland and the Netherlands probably not easy. Now, because there are sensible periods, they call it. Okay, and there is a general decline in all kind of functions, but the good news is, there's, by the way, there's a book in German, Schach und Alter, Chess and Age, but I don't know if it's translated in other languages. Oh, by the way, nowadays we have Google Translate. I probably gave you a link to the Max Euwe Center site. And there, when you go to history and you go to Karel, there you find 20 or 21 articles I wrote, and also a long article about chess and age. So I described, I wrote about that book, and also I wrote about what some Dutch professors found about the aging brain.
And if you can give us just the bullet points, like the most important parts, because we do not have that much time to describe it in detail, about this very briefly.
I just refer to, I just told already a few things, and I refer to the article, because then you have it integral, and you read the page, and you know, that is, I often get this question. I got years ago a question of a friend, and they were at the national championship for primary schools, and he said, Karel, we are about to play the finals for the Dutch championship. Can you give some mental training?
Yeah.
We are 5 minutes. You are training for 3 years with these kids to learn the pin, etc. And then you ask me in 5 minutes to change their mental situation and all their behaviors and the routines. There is no shortcut to success, you can tell those people. Yeah. But there are good methods. And so then I refer to an article. It's nonsense that I would just give a definition, and but you get no examples, you get no time to reflect on it, compare your own situation. It's nonsense. No shortcut to success, but stop with dropping pieces. And then there is also an acronym you can use. And first look for danger, then look for can you attack, etc. It's all in the book. But you can make also your own acronyms.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. But by the way, when you Google, there are a few. Did you have adult improver? You call it, I think. You had yourself an interview with such a guy or not?
Sorry, I'm not sure if I understood. Can you repeat?
Did you have an interview with an adult improver in chess?
If I had the adult improver interview,
Yeah, or not?
I do not have as yet, even if I had the Ben Johnson, who is interviewing the other, let's say, people.
Maybe it was in the Ben Johnson interview that
Okay, okay.
yeah. But there are more guys, and well, look around, talk with people, read something, ask people what are good books with good informations, and then you have to work.
Mm-hmm.
Simply, it's not always easy. Sometimes when you want to get to a goal, you have to find the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's then a trainer can be helpful, but also you have to work.
Yeah, but take notice, my friend.
Lazy.
Yeah.
If you're lazy, sorry for you.
Yeah, but take notice, my friend, that I am constantly, it's not once, I am something like a stubborn person. Tell the adult players that if they are 35 or 40, they will never become titled players. And that's like, thinker teacher, you're stupid. Thinker teacher, you're not right. And I gave them the research, I gave them the data, the science, I'm just putting everything, and they say, no, thinker teacher, and try to, let's say, imagine what kind of arguments they put against me. They say, thinker teacher, you are not a title player, therefore you cannot tell me that I'm not becoming a title player because of your knowledge. You know what I mean? And that's why...
Wish them luck.
Yeah, of course I wish them luck, but take notice that I tell them that they will get the burnout in a few, let's say, years. After that, they get into the community, to my channel again, they say, yes, I was stupid. But in the same time, they lose at least 3 to 5 years, a lot of money, a lot of social interactions, and probably they can get the divorce at the same time. You know what I mean? Because they will be too much obsessed. They will never get there because they didn't start as the youngsters, or the children actually, and therefore they will be just burnout. At the same time, they can even get crazy. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, next topic.
Yeah. Therefore, that's why I wanted you to, let's say, tell them in the, let's say, direct way, because I do not have that much, let's say, position. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a title player. Therefore, that's why they do not believe me. Another question that we can briefly discuss, very briefly, because we have some questions at the same time. How many hours a day should I study chess to become a good player? A good player, in the same time, we can just say something like 2000 or 22, maximum 2300 ELO, for example, from the level of 1600 ELO. So I'm like, what would be the estimation? Just the estimation. Of course, there is the Gopet and Kempitelli that they did the research about it. But in a general sense, if you just give a little bit of framework, what would be this, let's say, period if they started at the age of 25, let's say, right? They say...
I really cannot tell you.
But some like estimation.
Oh, then I have to gamble. That, well, you see some kids, they first they are slow and then they develop stronger, and then no, it has also to do with using the good methods. And in this book, Developing Chess Talent, for example, we describe what you have to do. If you only play, you won't come further. The Greek word methodos, the way, via, it means. You have to good. What you need is good methods, good training material, a teacher, a coach who knows something, friends who you can stimulate each other. All these things can be of influence. And some stop, but then for who is this question? For you can there are graphics from talented kids who reach the top. but there are also the most of them are recreational players. And by the way, about this incubation time, that you have to restructure everything in your mind. You see this back in these graphs. You see it going up and then flat and then up. And only Anish Giri was all the way to the
all
top.
the way up.
Most of the Dutch, yeah, it
Or
was
fluctuation, right?
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, for me it's also not so interesting. I'm more interested in helping people that and investing how it is possible people to develop themselves. I always say, you know, at school, I did not finish my school. I later did some exam to that I could was allowed to go to university. But I did not finish the high school and also primary school. For me, it was a jail. It was terrible, and they were the boss, and you had to listen, and it was killing your creativity and everything. So I think, but now I am the how you call it, the guard, the guy who has to take care of the kids. So I'm very aware. Always think first, what is the child feels, and what does it mean for them, yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. And now we have another question, a little bit off the main topic that we are discussing, but I guess from time to time we can put such questions as well. Our friend Nikolaus is asking, would you like to tell us about classical chess players from romantic chess area, romantic chess times, that is your favorite?
Actually, I'm not such a good chess player, and I know a bit about organizing some things. Yes, of course, I read sometime. I've followed the chess book, so I know a bit. But who is the classical times?
The classical times of like 1850 up to 1930, let's say.
1940.
Because there are a lot of players, and we are just pretty curious. What could be your favorite player about romantic chess?
Especially in a later phase, Bronstein, who was also at our home. I was very fascinated by Bronstein. By his original thinking. Yeah, and of course, Lasker made an impression. I wrote a few books of him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question that we need to, let's say, ask, because this is pretty important as well, how to stay motivated towards realizing the goals. Because providing that somebody has the potential, has the work capacity, has the dedication, how to stay motivated and not to, let's say, quit the, let's say, goal or the journey. If this is, let's say, 1 decade, let's say, of journey that is needed to become, let's say, a candidate master. Do not get into the super high levels, candidate master. How to not quit getting from the A point up to B if this is a decade, not just a month. How to stay motivated.
Well, first, as a scientist, you have a problem, and what does a scientist do? 4 things. First, you describe the situation, means analyzing. Yeah, or first you describe this is going on, then you analyze the reason, then you try to predict what will follow on, and then you try to influence the situation. It's not always possible. If it's raining, I can maybe, yeah, then I can take an umbrella. But okay, so motivation problem. Well, first ask yourself. It can also be you were and ask your friends what they think, because other people maybe see it better. Maybe you were overtrained. And then, yeah, it's counterproductive. Also, give yourself, maybe you should do other things instead of. Well, just it's also important. A former student of mine, he's now 2200. My son analyzed with him his games, and we did all kind of other things. And then we were reading articles of Aagaard. We were reading The Grandmaster's Mind of Amartya Avni, whom I know personally also met, and it's very interesting. So also to give not only learning openings, but also thinking about himself, the metacognition aspect. And then we were talking. We have had during his high school we had 100 trainings of 3 hours. And then I asked him to make a training program. Okay, made a training program.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you doing? And by the way, when you look to my newsletter, I checked it. My newsletter 65. Yeah, you give people that link with Google Translate. They can find a lot of information about deliberate practice. By the way, there we go to number.
Which one? Can you get the
down.
number?
65.
65. Okay. 65, and let's check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we had some talent training. That's activities, talent training. That's a book about creativity. There's some lectures.
Mm-hmm.
Max things. I'm there.
If you can tell me when to stop or which link
Yeah,
to...
this is we brought this in practice.
Mm-hmm.
This was, but we go continue. It's a long.
Okay. By the way, I highly recommend, guys, because there are a lot of, let's say, interesting information.
Now. Let me look.
Yeah.
No, this is the first league of the national competition.
Okay.
Down. It should be somewhere here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we coming. There it's page something. There's a training schedule, for example.
Yes, this is the training schedule, right?
I think when you have this kind of questions,
Mm-hmm.
just check it and use Google Translate.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, PDFs can be also translated. And the path to improvement is creating an environment about transfer. Okay, so in this issue of the newsletter,
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot of relevant information,
Yeah.
so I can advise. And then deliberate practice, I talk about this from Ericsson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But-
Anders Ericsson. Mm-hmm.
Methods, but I talk about deliberate practice 2.0 because
Oh,
I think Ericsson forgot about somebody,
yeah.
and I think it was the people involved. So
How so?
Yeah, they tell you have to train this and to make that routine and bam. But people differ. People maybe I always tell to my kids, you want to progress? Okay, then we can make a list of things you can do.
Uh-huh.
But I tell you in advance, only do 80%. When you don't like to do it one day, don't do it.
Yeah.
Skip it.
Yeah, got it.
And also parents, yeah, you can skip this. But parents ask me homework.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give homework. Why should I give homework? One kid, when he does homework, a week later he has forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time in the lesson. And other kids, I give them only tips and they do 10 times as much. So why to give homework? Yeah, maybe on a school when you have to learn French words or something, but my trainings are more workshop-like. I think it was Botvinnik who said, you only can teach chess to yourself.
Oh,
A trainer can give advice, etc., but you have to do a lot of yourself.
yes, I agree. I fully agree. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now maybe let's get into the next part because we have more questions from the chat at the same time. Therefore, I'll just have a look about the questions that we can, let's say, ask. At this moment, I do not see that many. Therefore, we'll get into the list of questions that we, let's say, prepared before.
Yeah.
What kind of, let's say, resources and what kind of ways you should, let's say, recommend for players who are just treating chess very seriously and they are suffering with some kind of coping with the stress. For example, what should be done to start, let's say, make the stress on the lower level? Either meditation, yoga, maybe any other type of relaxation. What would you say about this type of, let's say, tools?
Well, yeah, some people can do yoga. Of course, to relax, it's always good to walk a bit during the game, before, some physical things. But I think the main thing is you accept your task. You think about what you're going to do there. You have a realistic vision. It's a bit what we call hocus pocus. It's a bit nonsense, all this stress. Of course, people can. Well, okay, your body, there is danger, and then you have there's a beer on the way. Okay, what to do? To FFF, to fight, to fright, or to flight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, but you also can think in advance what you better should do if there is a chance you will meet a beer on the road.
Yeah.
And then you make a plan. Maybe you go another route, or you buy a gun or whatever. But you can make a plan. You can analyze the situation. Again, describe, analyze, predict, and then influence the situation. So you can, you should not to the performance, not to the result.
Mm-hmm.
Once you know, okay, that's a result. But the performance can be a beautiful move, or be proud of yourself. So it's there's a nice book about such kind of things. Called by Peter Wells and Barry Heimer. I mentioned them already.
Mm-hmm.
They made interviews about this kind of things. Peter was maybe is still coach of the English team and grandmaster, and Barry is psychologist. Well, they talked with guys like Settler and a few other ones. And sometimes it's just good to read those things.
Mm-hmm.
To check how you deal, how other people deal with it, and then make your own project, but also your other targets. So this, I don't think this stress. Imagine that each doctor in the hospital would suffer from severe stress.
Mm-hmm.
That people would die.
Yeah.
So I think you can find your ways in dealing with stress. By the way, from one domain to another domain, you can also learn. On the Max Over site, I have an article. I wrote an article about side note time trouble, and then Avondbach said something, and my hero in the story is Grandmaster Friso Nijboer, and he is talking about the stupidity of time trouble, because he has always time trouble himself. And in the article I discussed several advices, and there we go again. What fits for you? And then you can make a list, points of attention, and maybe not in one day you will learn to deal with it, but maybe in a month. But then you make a few points of attention and you develop those competences and those skills. And maybe you use a diary to reflect on it. There was a German, Munzert. I met him years ago. Germany. He wrote this book 30 years ago, maybe. He wrote this book Chess Psychology. I think it is also translated as chess psychology. And also had this checklist, and that was I think very. Now I know it. It was Grandmaster Paul van Delft. Now he's a two-fold Dutch champion, and he was playing against the guy from Siberia. What's his name? Now he lives in America. Strong. Okay, for the half finals of the World Championship. But Paul van Delft was an international master for years, and then in half a year he became Grandmaster. And he gave a lecture in the Max Euwe Center, and I was there. And I asked him later, Max Euwe Center, there is in Amsterdam. I asked him, what was this book you read? Yeah, because in that book he read, you should have a diary. Write down your experiences, write down what you think you should do and what would be have to be your routines. Then half a year, and it was the book of Munzert, Paul van Delft told me. So this kind of things, you can also be your own coach.
To be honest, I'm pretty shocked about this type of, let's say, self-training, because from international master to grandmaster, most of the times it's the journey 3 to 5 years. Most often, because some players can get a little bit faster, but many times it's 3 to 5 years. In half a year, I haven't heard about such stuff.
No, but you, oh no, that's not, it happens more, because you say it takes 5 years. No, he was too long an international master because there was one thing wrong, and this was his stress.
Okay.
His self-management. And if you self-image and your self-management
he corrected wrong, just one thing that didn't make him grandmaster. Is it correct?
Yeah, that was yeah.
Okay, now I understand, because normally it's not that easy, even if I'm not an international master, but what I heard from Ben Johnson, from his guests from Perpetual Chess Podcast, all of the other offers, I just read and heard that it's not that easy. And if you get a little bit into the, let's say, chess and autism, because this is the topic that probably is pretty interesting as well, what makes players with autism better than regular players? Because many times the players are comparing to the other groups, right? And they say, oh, he is better because he has some kind of special aptitude, or maybe he's the autistic and so on. What makes the players with the autism better than the average players?
No autist is the same. But there are several who can, their brain is a bit otherwise wired, and some of them can concentrate for many hours. And I saw it myself, because there was a guy, and now he was very afraid of everything, and but then he started playing chess. Of course, his parents were coaching him very well. But he trained with my son, but they did it at my home, because they both came from other places, and it was convenient to do it at my home, in the place where I am actually sitting now. And then I saw their mail exchange, and the student proposed to train it for 5 hours. And then he said, rude to my son, but I can imagine for you, 5 hours is long, but you may have a few breaks. And I will continue. Yeah, okay, some of them, but you can see literature, also this literature about autism. By the way, I was a bit a pioneer in this, because Mince Beideweg, publisher of the Dutch, or editor, Dutch chess magazine, he asked me to write an article, and I said, okay. As a journalist, I was 15 years a journalist at newspapers, so I can write an article. But then I checked, and there was nothing. So I had to talk with people who with experience, and read what music teachers did with autism, and then observe and practice, and then a bit general psychological knowledge, and then make a mix of it. And then what, for example, also in my book Chess for Educators, I love these lists. I have, for example, dyslexia, and I could not find things. Only somebody in Hungary, she works together with Judith Polgard. She did something, but some, okay, it's too much. No, some other theories that I think are realistic, but then I just started reading about the dyslexia, and I started talking with chess players and their parents with dyslexia. Yeah, it should be somewhere in the book. Oh no, this is the big alphabet. There is a chapter about dyslexia.
Yeah.
With control F, maybe you find it.
Yeah, I'll just have a look. Give me a second. Chess and dyslexia is the chapter 12.
Yeah, go to 77.
But take notice, it's just the sample of the book. It's not a physical book, it's the sample. It's the preview from Chess app, Newton Chess.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course.
There's just the preview.
No, you're right. No, but then I give there a few lists. How to, in a classroom, you have to check this, and this. And then the kid, what can the kid do? This. What can the teacher do? This. And you again, describe, analyze, predict what is and influence. And then you develop some routines for behavior and for method teaching. And then that's what you do.
Got it. Okay.
For example, I have to think about an example, but sometimes you, for example, when the text is too difficult, first introduce it with the movie. Very simple. All kind of tricks people don't think about.
Completely, let's say, very creative approach, I would say. Therefore, I didn't know that chess can be taught, and the problems around chess can be taught and solved actually in such a creative ways, because you are just opening pretty much completely new perspective for that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Therefore, I'm super happy that you are just having a lot of experience, a lot of this scientific, let's say, research, articles, papers, and all of this stuff that you just show us completely new world. Therefore, I'm super happy about it. And if we get a little bit into your, let's say, tasks, especially running the chess club, because this is the stuff that you are just doing.
Sorry.
Yeah?
There's a club. I'm not a member of the club. It's an academy.
Okay, academy. Sorry, academy.
No. That's we have in Apeldoorn. It's a town of 160,000 inhabitants, about 1% of the Dutch population. There is a big club with a few hundred members. They are actually this year and last year they were Dutch champion with 80% local players. So statistics says we should have one player in the highest league, but we have 8, and then the team is national champion. It's a big result. Not that I did it, but I was one of the guys who stimulated that they started helping themselves. And then we asked some people like Avenek, Jognan, and the Yusupov Dvretsky to give trainings. But that process. So there's a club. There are 20 schools where is chess, and I have my academy.
And can you tell us about your academy, how the academy works, and what are the goals, and what are the, let's say, teams in the academy that you are just providing this instruction, and how you do it in a global way?
No, it's quite simple. I teach after school hours at 6 schools. Then I do it. But they are, it's more creative, and I have more accent for the personal development. Then I let them do tactics, 15 minutes. In the Netherlands, a lot of people use the, you referred in our email conversation, the step methods, but I use another program, and it's called Chessmatic, from Boris Alterman from Israel. In the Netherlands, there is also such a kind of program, Chessity, but in the beginning it was more, it started to become too fast, too difficult, and too much words. The problem with the step methods, it's a nice method, but good structured, content is okay, but there are no, I have 30 years ago there were already CD-ROMs, but I did not put it online. For example, when I work with this Chessmatic, the children can, at their own pace, at their own level, alone or together, via how you call it, I don't know the English word, but discovery learning, then I walk around as a coach. With the step methods, I don't use it. Just sometimes when I put an individual student on the computer, and I said, well, here you have it, the exercises. But okay. What I do is 1/3 or half of the time they play with each other, and play on a DGT board, and then the moves are registered via Fritz 14, and then we can. They don't have to write down the moves. I don't have to write down the moves, and we just play via Beamer. We play we analyze the game, or we analyze. For example, last weekend I was with my friend Artur Yusupov, and he organized the Kortsoni Memorial, and then Stelios Halkios from Greece, I know him, against Krasinkov, Polish champion. And Krasinkov blew the game in 10 moves. Well, such a game for sure we will discuss. Did you know about this tournament of?
No, I do not know that many about tournaments. Therefore.
Okay, no, but okay, that was. But you asked me what you do with the kids. Does they play them themselves, or sometimes I or one of the kids give Simon. So it's a bit playing, it's a bit analyzing, that kind of things. And I do. And sometimes I coach a bit players who want to for sport, but at the moment it's more recreative. And then you have something in it for the personal development.
Okay, and if you can get a little bit insight how much the children are using electronic tools, especially the online coaching and online, let's say, programs for, let's say, playing and training with other coaches and players. For example, what is the, let's say, number of hours, or maybe the ratio of all of the training that they play online, some like the leagues, the matches, all of the type of events. At the same time, if they use something like the electronics tools like Puzzle Rush, Puzzle Battle, Puzzle Racer, all of the puzzles, some like from the online stuff.
It depends, but it depends. Lichess is used, and we used it ourselves also to organize during Corona. But what was and also I tried to continue, but most children did not like it because, and I have some stats about this. On the Apeldoorn School Chess Championship,
Mm-hmm.
the year before Corona, there were 253 participants. Okay, then they tried to organize on an individual basis the same championship. So the first it was with teams, but then only 81 participants. And I also found that I taught the kids where I teach. Maybe I had at average 10 kids at the school. Sometimes it's only 2, sometimes there are 19. But it depends. Also in the same school, it fluctuates.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wanted to give them all the opportunity. By the way, I also was kept to be at home. I give them the opportunity to have online lessons via Zoom and liedjes.
Mm-hmm.
Only 15% of the kids wanted this kind of lessons. So over the board is they like it very much more over the board.
Mm-hmm. But is it the effect or maybe upbringing? This is the culture? What is this phenomena? Because many times we hear that children are going into the electronic gadgets, into online stuff and so on as much as possible. And you're just going the other way. What is the phenomena about?
I don't know. It's a fact. They just say we don't like it. But on the other hand, they have all kinds of computer games. Yeah, but chess, no, it's not that. But I see for the better kids, the stronger players.
Mm-hmm.
I think, for example, my grandson, which I mentioned, he is one of the better younger players because he was number 2 a few times from Apeldoorn and so. But when he was 10 years old, he was invited by a trainer, a woman from India.
Mm-hmm.
She interviewed me about my book, Chess for Educators. Then we got good contact later.
Yeah.
And she's a psychologist and a trainer and a journalist like me. And but she invited my grandson to give simul via liedjes and then Zoom.
Wow.
And then, well, they all speak a bit English. Also, my son, my grandson, sorry. And then he made 10 out of 15 in the simul. But so for him, and then the other day he had a friend in South Africa, and they were playing chess and talking a bit. And well, I know some kids, they use it very much for their development, but the majority, I think, just likes to play off the board. But is it in Poland other ways?
Sorry?
In Poland, where you live, is it different in Poland?
But different with what topic? Because I'm not sure if I understand.
With the kids?
Yeah,
the kids.
The kids are pretty much more into the online, into the, let's say, electronic gadgets, into the stuff, than the chess in the real board. And therefore, we just try to drag them into the, let's say, chess into the board, because they want to click, they want to interact, they want to get into the online, instead of over the board. That's why I was that much shocked.
Yeah, I have no other explanation. I only can describe it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no problem, no problem. And now if we could get a little bit into, let's say, chess intelligence and highly gifted children, because we were talking about a little bit, but if we can put it a little bit with the Polgar sisters phenomena. How could you explain this phenomena from the background of science? At the same time, if you'd like to add something, was this experiment some like proven that anybody can become really good at chess, or maybe it was something like the exceptional, let's say, case?
Yeah, we never know. Well, not on basis of Polgar. Well, he wrote a book about his future plans with his daughters. In my book I refer also. I read some books about him. Also Professor De Groot. wrote 3 didactic articles, which he gave me at the time, and so I tried a bit to analyze. There is also this American boy. The book title Finding Bobby Fischer, or Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Searching for Bobby Fischer. Mm-hmm.
This, well, also this parent, this father described a bit the education. Then I think you can learn some things from this. For example, don't give them some freedom to make their own. You have the right to be wrong, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So you also, again, you can distill maybe 30 principles of education when you read the biographies of Polgar.
Mm-hmm.
And this social technology you can also use in other situations. But your question, can you make a grandmaster of everyone?
Yeah, something like because it was something like the phenomena that up to this day was not replicated, at least from my knowledge, that Laszlo Polgar, the father of, let's say, Polgar sisters, actually, he just stated that everybody can become a, let's say, expert in the field in a global way. And therefore, he just wanted to prove that it's not the way of, let's say, genes, but rather the hard work and the dedication to become the top field in the expert in the field.
I think partly for sure he is right, because you see it also in several cultures, some Asian cultures, Jewish communities. People think it's very important. They stimulate the children from a very young age, which is, and we talked about the sensible periods. Before after 10 years, you cannot learn things. So there are this kind of aspects, but I don't believe it's. But I think it's of influence. The way it's nature versus nurture, of course, and this. Nature is the genes,
Mm-hmm.
But I think nurture, well, it was proven by Professor Koonstam in the Netherlands years ago, the psychologist, developmental psychologist, that good education makes a difference of 30% of the performance, which means attending university or going to a middle, to average school.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but Polgar is a bit a hardliner, one thing or the other. But I think it's both, and that's what most scientists think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. And if we can get into the role of the parents and organization to support chess activities, because parents are many times trying to force the kids to get into the, let's say, top performance. They want their kids to be grandmasters in everything, not just chess. And what are the role of the parents and organization, either the clubs, either the other organization that taking care about the kids, about all of the social aspects, about supporting chess community and chess growth in a positive way? What would you say about this, about social aspects?
Well, first be aware of it. And in the beginning of our conversation, we already spoke about it. Well, people, the parents, they see problems with the kids. For example, well, other girls at the school, they say you are a nerd. Well, and then the mother said, what to do? She said, well, it's simple. You have three options. You reframe your thoughts. You say, well, let them talk. It's not interesting. Or you can try to convince the others that you are not a nerd, which probably won't help. Or you can just choose another, go away and choose other friends or another school or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot always change the world. Sometimes, well, you have to go to another place, or you have to do it with another thing. Or you can sometimes, there are good teachers and they have a trick and they let the kid talk about his limitations or whatever so that others understand. But yeah, parents, what I said before, I think parents better should read a bit about it. And not especially my book, but maybe there are other books or sports. And I think tennis or football, there are the same things. So maybe you can find a nice book about music or football going to the top, and compare it with yourself. And yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And another question, because we will be closing the, let's say, meeting in a few minutes. Therefore, if you guys have any questions for our guest, just put that into the chat. What is the most, let's say, memorable event that you participated, either as a player, either as the organizer, either as the, let's say, witness? What was the most memorable of yours? It doesn't matter if you just met the famous player, if you won the tournament, it doesn't matter. What is the most memorable of the event you participated?
I think one I organized in Apeldoorn in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
The Connection One experience. It was in a building in Apeldoorn, the National Computer Center.
Yeah, yeah.
And the former, the founder of this, died, but he was a good chess player, and he had a program on television with world champion Max Euwe. And the people of this National Computer Center, they wanted to honor the guy, because it's 5 years of existence or whatever. And then, as a journalist, I happened to be there interviewing somebody. And then the guy came in and he said, "Hey, Karel, what about chess?" And the manager said, "Chess?" Well, we start talking, and we ended organizing their chess week, and with 4 teams. It was of best players under 20. It was the German team, coach Uwe Bunch with Jan Gustafsson. And it was Israel, Jochen aan de Vek was the coach. And there was Boris Avroeg and Ari Gershon, former youth world champions, were in the team. And there were 2 teams of the Netherlands. My son played in it also. And Van der Doel, Sipke as well. All the guys, and it was very nice. And then for the Netherlands, Luc van Wely was the coach. Stayed at my home because he was friends with my son, and they played football for a few years. And you only could be in the football team if your ELO rating was 2,300 or more.
Amazing. I would never play football. I would never play football then.
Luke told me in the future he wanted to be a coach. I said, "That's a good idea." I said, "Then I have a nice possibility for you. You come 1 week to Apeldoorn for free, and then you can stay at my home, and then you are the coach, and you start a new career." And Luke said, "Okay." And even he did not want to have money for the oil in his car, because so Luke was there, and we was and still it's on. You can find it on my English site, chesstalent. Do you have it there? Chesstalent.com. It's nice, maybe finish with chesstalent.com.
Yes, I'll just put the chesstalent.com. Give me a second. Now we are chesstalent.com. Here we have it.
Yeah. And we go to to the top Varia. You see Varia in the left?
Yes, Varia.
Okay, we click on Varia.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Mark de Voretsky. This is Thomas Beerts in my living room. He just became Grandmaster. But we go down. This is about autism. We go down. This is about research I did at university about scores on chess conference. This is, by the way, if you want to have all these questions about your own behavior, etc. You see, psychological questions.
Yeah.
It's a questionnaire for chess analysis, tactical and psychological questions.
Excellent.
And you can discuss this with other people. You see some checklist in it. And then there come the technical. Okay, this is nice start. I did this also with my son and the boys when they were young. Free time, 80 questions, but each time 4 or something. Yeah. Okay, stop. Yeah. No. Yeah, this is mini games, very important.
Just Karate Kid?
Yeah, Karate. Yeah, mini games. It's a good way to start with kids.
Oh my goodness, excellent.
It will be Karate Kid. You have to do elementary things and then you integrate it.
Excellent. Therefore, I wanted to ask in a moment will be just this question. How you guys, I mean the Dutch community, get into such a creative ways of getting into the science of chess science? Because it's absolutely amazing. And step method or step-by-step method is one of the ways that I am super impressed, even if you probably may not be that much impressed, but I am impressed. That is one of the most creative ways of putting chess science, chess pedagogy together. Can you elaborate a little bit about this method as you are just talking about, chess in the, let's say, Netherlands, and the methods that you are just creating all over again?
Well, it started with Euber. Wrote many books, he stimulated. And then the Netherlands has a very good infrastructure. Most people speak 2 or 3 languages, especially people with some education. And I think the Dutch mentality is quite modest. So people are open for conversation and learning from that kind of aspects. And then it gets like a snowball, things reinforce each other. But can we go back to this other thing? I wanted to show you about this. I think we go down. Yeah. We go down. Here we are. Okay, go down a bit, please. You see, we see in the middle, we see Boris Avroeg. I have still email contact with him. You see all the guys. You see there is the Dvoretsky, there is Yusupov, there is Afek with in the middle with the dark glasses. And all the it was the Dvoretsky third from the left. So that was and then we even played with a rapid tournament. We played football together. We went to eat. So this was with 3 countries. It was a great event.
By the way, was the requirements to play soccer, the match against the, let's say, countries, requirement of having 2300 ELO, or was not the requirement at this point?
No, not in this case.
Not in this case, because I was curious if all of these guys are at least 2300 ELO.
Yeah, Manuel Bosman was in that team, my son, Van Wely. Yeah. Oh, these are some articles I wrote. About this is about food. I wrote it for the Dutch Chess magazine, and then a more longer article for the site of the Max Euwe Center.
Excellent. By the way, it is not that common to, let's say, have the articles about chess and psychology, especially the articles that are not in a not in a scientific journals, and the articles that are not after the paywall. So like that needs to be paid, right? Therefore, I'm super happy that you just provided that many. To be honest, I didn't know that you just, let's say, shared that many articles onto
the last one. No, but this is nice because a friend from India asked me about because I wrote. Lasker was speaking about the 17th chess piece.
Okay.
And being the player himself or herself. He could not find it. Then I remembered the German book and checked. But then I came to Russian literature. So I asked Arthur van Oude Wetering. He speaks Russian. He's from Apeldoorn, international master. And my friend Arthur Yusupov. They helped me with the Russian things. And then we came out by Levidov, the journalist.
Yeah.
And Levidov was talking about the 17 chess piece.
Wow.
But by the way, one remark. What we're doing, what I'm doing here.
Uh-huh.
Well, I have a scientific background. I studied psychology. I read some articles. I work in the science team.
Uh-huh.
But this is more work as a journalist, because I find my way. Not in all the articles I write. I did first an experiment.
Oh.
Not so. I check. I check information.
Mm-hmm.
I check what literature says. I talk with experts,
Wow.
etc. And then sometimes that's more productive than doing only taking 4 years for only one very controlled experiments
Mm-hmm.
about details.
And if I can ask, because this is the question that I immediately need to ask, are you working on publishing another chess book related to all of the stuff that you haven't published in chess, developing chess talent and organizing chess in education? Are you working on another book to put the experience, the, let's say, research, all of this stuff into the next, let's say, publication?
No, but I have an alternative. No, I don't see myself writing. Maybe I will write a successful course for beginners about all nice things I saw.
Yeah, no matter what you produce, if I can say that, it would be the piece of gold. I'm not kidding, because you have that much experience, that much, let's say, different perspective, that, believe me, my friend, that just no more than 1% of the, let's say, practical players or the people who are just creating the courses or the books or something like that doesn't have that much creativity and the scientific background. Believe me. And that's why whatever you produce, I am keeping fingers crossed. I'm not kidding. I'm serious. I'm serious.
No, but if I... well, for example... I can do, I can put things in my newsletter, but for example, on the Chessable blog, I made about talent development, about Van Forest and what's her name? Yeah, let's go to the blogs. Can you all post? Can you click on all post?
Where is that? Sorry.
Categories all post at the top.
All posts, right?
Huh?
Okay, click that.
Lina and Machteld is there. Ah, here we are. You can click on it.
But which one?
Well, one is 16 year and you see the orange.
Yes, the orange one. Interview with the Judge Prodigy.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. Okay. So I made it, my name is there. I made a nice interview with them. So they have their experience. One is the international master on the left. On the right, she is the Dutch woman champion at the moment. She's the sister of the two brothers from Forest, the grandmasters.
Yeah, Van Forest is very known.
And I hope to have an interview in August or September with Vahan Sargsyan. I met him in London. They have in a year from Armenia. There is ASPU. It's a pedagogical institute, and there work 20 scientists, social scientists, psychologists, etc. They do research about chess and education, but they changed their policy. And so they had their experiences. I think they what they did, they teach it more like sport, instead of kind of education, the chess.
Yeah.
So things went a bit wrong, but now they are learning from the experiences and they're renewing. So I think I will be more busy. No, and I like it. To write stories in my newsletter. Tomorrow I will write about Jorrit. Jorrit was died. Jorrit was 70 years old. Jorrit could not eat and not drink and was autistic.
Whoa.
But he was club champion of chess.
World champion in chess?
The club champion.
Ah, club
of
champion,
the
sorry.
village.
Club
He
champion,
was
okay.
champion and he had diploma step 4.
Okay.
Step. And he lived 80 kilometers from my home. But we had about 40 trainings together. And then I came, but after 1 hour he was too tired. But then I drank coffee with his father, and we discussed what his father, how his father could coach him.
Yeah.
Okay, so a few years ago, Jorrit died, but in my newsletter there were many photos of him. Also visiting Wijk aan Zee, training with him when he was lying on his bed. And but his mother wrote a book about his life.
Yeah.
And what it means, what was chess in his life, but how to deal with a kid who cannot eat and drink, but all the time have some infuse. Okay, and about this, it will take me tomorrow a few hours, and I write an article about this book, and telling people it exists. So there are a lot of things happening. Not always you have to write a book. I wrote a few books already, so I like to write such kind of things. I can also put in articles.
Yeah, it's great that you just, let's say, put the things into articles, and articles are available for everybody. This is what I very, very much respect and very much appreciate, because this way everybody can get the access. It's not some like a paywall, not some like the stuff that is very difficult to let's say find. Therefore, I'm pretty grateful for that. Okay, and now let's get into just 2 more questions, because we'll be, let's say, wrapping up in a moment. There is just 2 questions about, let's say, chess in Holland, and at the same time, how do you, let's say, get into, let's say, such high level with the recent years? I mean, especially Jorrit van Forest and Anish Giri. How did you push these guys? Of course, there are others as well, but especially these 2 that are get that high. What are the, let's say, support, maybe the sponsors? What do you think that it gets that much with the Dutch community?
Well, there is more Forests. There is also Lucas, who was also a national champion, the brother of Jorrit. And Anish, there was Luc van Wedi and Timman. Yeah, dozens of them. Well, I think the same things I mentioned to you. There's a chess culture, and but people had a few conversations with Luc van Wedi about it. By the way, also about this kind of questions, in my book, not everything is for free, but some for a few euro you can buy the ebook. But there is also an interviews I made with Yusupov and some others, but also with Luc van Wedi. Yeah, and he says, well, maybe it was an advantage that it was not that structured in the Netherlands, because in the Soviet Union, a lot of them had to do this, had to follow a program. And we did not have trainers. We had to fire. Well, we could stimulate each other, but we had to find our own way, and that makes you strong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, of course, small country, good infrastructure, a lot of books, and there were some guys writing books, some stimulating people in the past. And some others. Van Weiger played a role, also with the step methods. Yeah, so it came a bit together, and then you get a snowball effect. Yeah.
Okay, and the last question, because we just crossed 2 hours, therefore I don't want to expand it too much. Of course, the question is a little bit, let's say, off, if I can say that, but it's pretty much important in all of the context that you provided, because we are super grateful for everything what you do and everything what you shared with us. This is the, let's say, gold mine for us to, let's say, explore. Are you happy choosing chess as your live chess domain, that you get into chess with different perspective? And are you feeling fulfilled living chess and all of these social aspects based on chess education, chess research, all of this stuff?
Yeah, I think it was a good choice, and still is.
But what makes you happy? What makes you fulfilled? If you get a little bit more. Of course, I know it's private, but we will be happy to hear that.
No, I've got no secrets. You can ask, but well, chess is great. Yeah, for example, I can enjoy endgame studies. For example, you can think. You are free. You can develop your own plans, your own ideas. As a teacher, I enjoy all those kids that I am allowed to help bring their talent, and that also is a challenge. It's just a creative process. Thinking, hey, you have this limitation, or you don't understand something. How can I explain it to you? That's all a lot of fun. And by the way, I organized a lot of things, but this was not really all the time my big hobby. But it was more that I thought, well, somebody has to organize the weekend tournament. Let be it me, not to be the director of a tournament or something. No. Then also at some moment I said, okay, I stop with it. I do sometimes small projects, you know. There is this project about chess tables in urban chess tables, that you have a chess table somewhere in town.
Yeah.
Well, that we had somebody in Utrecht also started this. Well, and then I go to a friend of mine who is in the municipality council, and we say, well, we make a project. And there is a chess table in the park, you know.
Excellent.
So a bit small projects, yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I am
fine with what I'm doing.
Yeah, I am grateful, my friend, that you just devoted, let's say, your life to chess as chess community globally, and you are just that much taking care about child, about parents, about society. You are not just, with all of the respect, right? Not just blind into chess and just seeing chess only. You are just integrating and connecting people, society, chess specialists, research, science into one. Therefore, I am super grateful. We as the community, especially we as the community of Thinker Teacher, are very grateful for you. And the last, let's say, request, not just question, if we can reflect over the meeting for today that we have made it, is there any question or is there any aspect of the stuff that we were talking about that you would like to, let's say, talk or maybe extend or maybe some like share with us during the stuff that we done?
Sorry, during
this meeting right now, is there any questions, any stuff that you'd like to expand?
During another meeting, you mean?
Yeah, another 2 hours meeting. I mean, this one. No, I mean this one that we are wrapping up. Was there anything that I didn't ask you and you would like to share with the community? That's what I mean.
That's what you said. No, I think most things you give them. The only thing I'm interested in is at the moment you put it on YouTube also?
Yes, I'll put it on YouTube after a little bit of editing. In a few days I'll put on YouTube and share the link with you. I'll send you the link into the email.
Because tomorrow is my newsletter, and but is the Twitch available already?
Yes, at Twitch it is available. After the stream is over, you can get into the Twitch. But at Twitch it is just only for 14 days. After 14 days it expires. But at YouTube it will be some like for at least a decade.
Yeah, no, but tomorrow in my newsletter I will tell people they can look at Twitch, and in a few days they can.
And
go
what is
to
another newsletter that you make? You make one newsletter a week?
Yeah.
Maybe
But
another. Yeah.
Tomorrow is the next one.
Maybe let's make the another, let's say, week. This would be easier because I need to make some of the adjustments to put in the YouTube, and next newsletter you could just put it.
I already announced it last week.
Oh.
That it will. But tomorrow I can refer to you.
Okay, you can refer into Twitch without any problem. I'll just send you into the email the Twitch, let's say, a video.
Yeah, very good. And then next week we can go tell that it's.
Yeah, it would be probably this way better. Okay, my friend, thank you very much for sharing all of...
Nice meeting you. Hope to see you in future again. Or we email sometimes. If you have questions, always welcome. Just email.
Okay, thank you.
Or maybe you have questions. I don't charge money answering questions by mail.
Yeah.
So some of you viewers have some questions. Just give them my email address and.
Yeah, no problem. By the way, I just shared all of the links for the newsletter, for your Shack Academia, for the chess talent. All of the links I just shared all over the meeting for all of our community. Therefore, they will be, let's say, getting to this for sure. Therefore, we'll be having the contact with you.
Okay, Thomas.
Thank you very much, my friend. Have a great time. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.